picked up the bird, took it up to Intel, and said, this might be a long shot, but this pigeon won't nick off. And so we made some phone calls and found out it was registered to one of the prisoner's fathers. Like, this woman was in her 80s.
Tongue-kissing his mother.
And then when they strip searched her, well, she didn't care. She just flashed out, flashed everything, and there was these little packets of heroin in her bra and on, you know.
Good old mum. I'm Andrew Rule. This is Life and Crimes. Last time we spoke to Brian Coglan, former prison officer and former racing photographer, he told us a little bit about one of his favourite prisoners, a bloke called Tony Mockbell. And I suspect that this week he's going to tell us a little bit more. Tony Mockbell, pretty good company. You quite liked him, got on well. Careful, of course, never to be compromised by people like that. Cause,
and he never tried, to be fair.
He never tried,
he never tried to bribe. You know, hundreds of them do offer you things.
Stuff,
But no,
what sort of things? Be frank.
I remember telling a crook one day I was short or I needed, and he literally came and said, here's an account with 20 grand in it. Pay your bills. I don't care if you pay us back or not. It's money I'm supposed to not have, basically.
Yeah.
And I just looked at him and said, thanks, but no thanks.
Yes.
I said, mate, I plan on...
Baiting the hook.
Yeah, exactly. This was quite early.
Yeah.
And he goes, why not? I said, mate, I intend to take $1 million out of this joint over the 10 years. I want to work here. You know, like...
Yeah.
I said, well, why would I take 20 grand? It's, you know, and I'm out of a job in a month.
True.
You know, it just didn't make sense.
What sort of offender was he?
He was a sex offender.
Oh.
Yeah. He was actually a child sex offender, actually.
Really?
He had a place up near Ballarat, Enright, or up that way.
Yeah.
And he literally told me where it was buried.
Where the money was buried? Money?
I presume it was cash, yeah.
Oh. So when he said an account...
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't really an account.
It was buried money.
It was buried in a tin, I'd say.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
But he couldn't see himself using it for any reason. And he said to neighbours, I don't know if they were looking for the money or whatever, but he got word that they'd smashed up his house. Now, I think it was probably because he was a pedophile.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't think they were looking for money. But
because there's no reason to think a pedophile's got money.
Yeah, I can't even think of that bloke's name now. But yeah, he was, I think he had land.
But owning land and having 20 grand in cash buried is two different things.
Yeah, well, that could be true.
I've got some land, but I've never had 20 grand buried anyway. No. So that's one. And do you think he was manipulative enough to want to do that to get you, on side? Because, I mean, I know they do like to manipulate officers.
But there's not much we can do for them, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? Really, I mean, give them an extra pillow. What can we do for them?
Well, what a Mockbell type of a good operator who's a bad man can do is manipulate an officer to do something illegal that could cost the officer their job. And then
listen.
Now, we don't want to tell anybody about that, do we? When you brought in blah, blah for me.
Well, that's the first thing we get taught.
That they're going to set you up.
As soon as you do one thing for you, you're in their pocket.
You're in their pocket. And then they want whatever.
And to be fair, listen, I was there for 26 years. They probably would have flipped one staff member a year. You know, either a female has a relationship with one of them or, you know, a staff member will bring in a phone or
that sort of stuff.
Do something along those lines.
Phones probably.
Phones,
weapons, drugs.
Yeah, exactly. We had, drugs in there. God, now there's drones dropping drugs off, Yeah,
it was a reality that drugs got in, right?
I will tell you.
How did most of it get in?
I will tell you a couple of funny ones that I was thinking about.
Yep.
One day I walked into a unit called Pennine, which was a young offenders unit, and it was surrounded by pigeons, which wasn't unusual because there was guys were always throwing out bread rolls and things for them. And I walked into the Pennine yard and all the pigeons flew off bar one. And I'm looking at it, didn't think too much about it, went in, saw the staff, signed the book, did what I have to do in there. And then I'm walking out probably 20 minutes later and all the pigeons fly off again.
Yeah.
This pigeon doesn't move.
Yeah.
Anyway, I look at it and I see it's got some racing bands on its leg. And thought, no, surely not. Anyway, picked up the bird, was as tame as anything, picked it up, took it up to Intel and said, this might be a long shot, but this pigeon won't nick off. And, you know,
not acting
it's not
normally.
here all the time, but it comes and goes, and it's not scared of people, obviously. So we made some phone calls and found out it was registered to one of the prisoners' fathers, because this was a young offenders unit. They were all kids, basically. And, so next thing, we released the pigeon, let it go, blah, 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 kept an eye on it. And then we found his father on the other side of the wall and the son both calling it down.
Yeah.
And
they'd trained it to...
They trained it to...
You could call it down.
Oh, you could call it down, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So it was quite
And he's
funny.
sending stuff in.
Yeah, well, that's what we're presuming, because they kept finding gear in the unit, couldn't work out how it was getting in there.
That is wonderful.
So that was one of the funny ones. And then another funny
What
story.
happened to that prisoner?
Oh, nothing.
No, I mean, did he end up... What's gone on?
Unfortunately, he was a career criminal. His uncle was in, the family was well known to police, let's put it that way.
Okay.
So he didn't...
Well-known pigeon fanciers.
Yes. Unknown to the pigeon racing world. But,
I see.
Well, I don't know. But so that was one way that was quite funny. And then another one that comes to mind was we got alerted to one of the toughest blokes in jail in there, an old-time crook.
Yeah.
Johnny, an old armed robber and, just a tough old crook.
Yeah.
No issues for staff or anything, was institutionalised, knew how the joint worked. But one day staff alerted us to him tongue-kissing his mother, who was in her 80s.
Oh.
And when we went over and investigated, found out she was trying to pass little balloons of, I think it was heroin or something.
Mum.
Oh, jeez, it was the funniest thing. Like, this woman was in her 80s.
Tongue-kissing his mother.
And then when they strip-searched her, much to his chagrin.
Oh, dear.
Well, she didn't care. She just flashed out, flashed everything, and there was these little packets of heroin in her bra and on,
Good old mum.
And, well, something we didn't pick. We didn't know Johnny was into the gear for a start. And
Is he into it or selling it?
Don't know. He might have been pressured to bring it in. There's heaps of reasons why.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought it was, he wouldn't be suspected because
there's that.
He wasn't in on that sort of gear.
True. Yeah, he'd be a good candidate.
Yeah.
It might have been a way to get some money outside organised for mum.
For mum, exactly. Yeah. Or they won't strip an 80-year-old, do you know what I mean?
It's an earn, as they say.
It's an earn, yeah.
And so what happened to Johnny over that? Having to kiss your mum probably is probably punishment enough.
Oh, listen, I know that picture stayed up on the Intel wall there for quite a while because she was sticking her tongue out and pulling faces and, it was absolutely the funniest thing we've ever seen.
Oh, that's great.
And that was one of the good things about that job because you go into work every day and you just shake your head and go, people on the outside wouldn't believe this.
Oh, that's great stuff.
And that's where it was quite interesting, working at a place with an edge. It could go off.
Yeah.
It could swing. The prisoners used to make allegations about everything and,
some of them have been known to tell lies.
Yes.
Some would say
because they got nothing better to do.
They actually are dishonest, some of them.
No, it was a game to them.
What about some of your fellow officers? Were they all officers and gentlemen?
Oh, listen, to be fair, because of the way they recruited it, Paul Phillip, it was very much customer orientated. There were a lot of people persons employed, but there were some big boys. Yeah. And then there was the Islanders. We had some pretty big Islander officers.
I see.
And
to make up for some Islander prisoners.
Yes, yeah. Well, you had to fight fire with fire.
So if you got a Tongan, can you get a Samoan, or how's it work?
Well, on our side of the fence, the Tongans got on well with the Samoans.
Did they?
On their side of the fence, it didn't go that well.
Oh, I see.
But for some reason, the staff that were Samoan and Tongan, and they were big boys. Well, they never was an issue. They were like brothers.
Well, they like rugby.
Well, that's right. And half of them grew up in New Zealand anyway.
Yeah, they like hungies.
Exactly.
Cooking the pigs.
And they're pretty easygoing guys. But geez, you try and tackle them, it's like running into a tree. Yeah. They don't move. No. And so we had some pretty tasty guys come over from New Zealand. Staff.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they imported some.
Did they?
Pretty heavy guys. And listen, because the main aim of everything, and especially in the last few years now, since you're not even allowed to touch a prisoner. Yeah. if they're mouthing off and going back, you've got to de-escalate.
Right.
You're not allowed to touch them unless they touch you first.
Right.
You know, I've had 4 teeth knocked out. I've had,
Did you?
Yeah.
What? Tell us about that.
Well,
What's your worst day? What was your worst day on the job in 26 years? Losing 4 teeth's got to be in the list.
well, I didn't lose it. They were loosened at the stage, but
Right.
over time they were.
Yeah.
But I think, to be honest, that was from friendly fire from one of the islanders.
Who was in uniform?
Who was?
Yeah.
We were trying to take this guy down who just run at us.
Yeah.
And I got my teeth knocked out in the backwash of it, so to speak.
What else happened that didn't put a smile on your dial?
To be honest, I've only been attacked a couple of times, and one of them was what we'd call a bail out of the unit. Mm. I knew he didn't have an issue with me. I knew, but he was getting pretty agitated, and I turned around to speak to another staff member, and he jumped me.
Oh.
Now, he didn't really hurt me, but he knows jumping staff will get him out of there. He had to get out of that unit.
Right.
And quite often they'll do things like that, or they'll do something to you and then they come straight up and apologise and say,
when you say bail out, it's a voluntary. He
wanted to get out of the unit.
For his own safety.
And didn't want to lose face and wanted to be seen to...
Yes.
He's not leaving because he's got issues.
No.
He's leaving because he attacked a staff member.
Oh, I see.
So it was all that prison politics. And
Yeah.
and then another time where...
That makes sense.
This was actually quite a funny one. It was another career criminal. He was Aboriginal. Listen, he was our billet. He was a terrific kid. Like, he knew the way jail worked. He used to do stuff before you even asked him, as in clean out a cell or paint a cell or do it, like really, really, unfortunately institutionalised, but no trouble to staff. Then one day we had a prisoner coming in late, and I had to go and ask him to bunk up with this prisoner. And I said, listen, it's only for the night. Well, first of all, I sent the staff down to tell him, thinking there wouldn't be an issue because he's very compliant. Now, I don't know if he just had something or whatever, but he was going to his cell and he said, no, I'm not sharing a cell. So then the staff came and got me. I was supervising in the unit and said, knackers won't move. Anyway, so there was another kid who'd been on the floor, a staff member, had been on the floor for probably about 6 months and was struggling. Prisoners weren't getting on with him. He didn't know how to talk to prisoners. He was falling out with staff. He was falling out with people. And anyway, another staff member said, knackers, go with Mr. Coglan and learn how to talk to a prisoner who's upset.
Yeah.
So we walked on down and he's following me down. And I said, mate, just let me do the talking. He'll move. There's no drama. There's something going on, but we'll work it out. So I walked down and opened the door and said to the guy, listen, what's going on? And he was lying on the bed and he goes, I'm not moving cells. And I said, come on. And I said, we'll get you a single cell back tomorrow. I said, we've run out of room. Anyway, I don't know what was up his nose or up. He was different.
Yeah.
And I had this guy behind me and he goes, get that guy out of the cell. I said, no. I said, we're not coming in to hassle you.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you to, listen, make room. You're going to get a cellmate tonight.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you now, I'll bash him if he comes in and I'll do all this and carry on. And the funny thing was he started getting up off the bed and, I just let him stand up. Then I saw him cock his arm and thought, he's going to have a crack here. And I literally grabbed him and put my head on his chest.
Yeah.
That's how close we were.
Yeah.
And so I pulled him together just so he couldn't get a swing at my head, basically, and just telling him to calm down. Well, he saw the guy who he didn't really like behind me. Anyway, he's taken a swing at me, but I've ducked, put my head on his chest, and so he couldn't get me.
Yeah.
Well, the poor bloke behind me's crack, got him in the nose, broke his nose, there's claret everywhere. Oh, Jesus. And I'm trying to teach him how to speak to prisoners.
Was it meant for you, that punch?
Once again, I don't know if he would have done it if I was there on my own, but because he had a reason to unleash.
He didn't like the other bloke. Yeah.
He didn't like the other bloke. And
for reasons none of us all know, but are probably real to him.
Yeah, exactly.
No
and
doubt.
listen, this other guy, he's not in the job anymore. he wasn't great with crooks. He didn't know how to speak to them.
Yeah.
He didn't have their respect, if you know what I mean, in a funny sort of way. So he wasn't really cut out for the job. Yeah. And I must admit, I never thought that prisoner would attack me. So the next day I went down to the slot with the Aboriginal liaison officer because he was completely out of character for this guy.
Yeah.
So we both went down, and I'm expecting him to literally put his hand out and say, "Sorry, Brian.
Yeah.
I don't know what got into me, or for some reason." Well, he was red hot again. He nearly came across the table again at me, and I was there with the liaison officer, and we're both looking at each other going, "This is so out of character." Now, I think he was off his head on ice or something.
Must have been.
And must have got a taste during the day, and it was just a complete form reversal.
Yeah, ice will do it.
Oh,
police will tell you this, but prison officers must have the same problem sometimes. That ice leads to terrible things.
Oh, it's a shocking drug.
Do mad, crazy stuff.
Yeah,
and you're flat out holding them down.
Yeah,
sort of stronger. And
it's, and I don't know why you'd want to be on ice in jail.
Doesn't
when
seem
you're just speeding off your nut.
Wouldn't seem to be a good idea.
I could understand if you'd want to have a smoke or chill out in there, but being on ice was not the right place to be.
So some of the other people we don't want to talk about really bad people too much, but you knew Leslie Camilleri and Lindsay Hoani Beckett, who were the terrible pair who killed the Bega schoolgirls.
Yeah, true.
Now, we're not going to dwell on them because better their names are not spoken most of the time. Your impressions of them and looking after them and other prisoners' attitudes towards them?
Yeah. To be fair, they copped a fair burn from the other prisoners because of the putrid crimes they were in on.
Yeah.
And they did get burnt a lot, but they were together initially. And then I believe Beckett gave evidence against Camilleri and we had to separate them.
Right.
And
when you say a burn, what sort of stuff?
Oh, the other prisoners yell out, calling them dogs and rapists and murderers and kid killers and just... Yeah,
so would they be in protection or what?
They were in protection, yeah.
They were in a protection wing and they'd be in there with the likes of Andrew Fraser, the lawyer?
Andrew Fraser.
Who this show knew quite well.
Oh,
we had him on our show here for hours. And we knew Fraser pretty well. And he resented being put on protection because he saw it as a deliberate attempt by the authorities to smear him as some sort of give up.
He knew the stain of being in protection was, and he was desperate to try and get out of it. He kept writing to the powers that be to get him out of protection.
And how do you read their decision to put him in protection as a sort of a cynical ploy to? What do you think?
Andrew wouldn't have survived in mainstream. He was very arrogant in his way. He wouldn't talk to a lot of people. Protection was probably the best place for him.
Right.
But
so you think the system knew better?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. There was word also out there that he'd also upset a lot of blokes. A lot of blokes that he'd represented were in there.
Yeah.
And whether they should have been in there or shouldn't have been in there. But, listen, he didn't like protection. He was a little bit snobbish, to be honest.
Yeah.
We actually had a mutual friend in. My neighbour was one of his associates, as in he was a lawyer too. And so he got wind of that, or I told him, I said, listen, do you know Tom? And he goes, yes. He said, we work together. I said, yeah, I know. I said, he's my neighbour.
Yeah.
And he was asking after you. And he goes, tell Tom I'm good. And, so we built a bit of an instant rapport straight away from that. And snobby's not probably the right word to say, but he was careful who he'd speak to. He thought everyone was trying to, out to get him. He put his hand up and took blame for the cocaine issues he had and all of that sort of stuff. So, as he used to say to me, cocaine's your way of telling you you've got too much money.
True.
That's exactly what he used to say to me all the time.
Yeah.
And then I did get a bit disappointed with Andrew when he put his hand up for the Peter Dupas conviction claim.
Yeah.
I don't believe Dupas. There's no way Dupas would have confessed to him, especially the way he said it and everything like that.
But this is your guesswork.
This is purely my gut feeling. And knowing Dupas and knowing what a piece of work he is, there's no way he would have. Anyway. That's been and gone, and unfortunately Andrew's gone too now. So
Yeah.
that chapter's pretty much closed.
Of course, Peter Dupas is the sex killer, one of the worst people in the system, who is going to live and die in jail because of the many crimes he's done. And his relevance here is that Andrew Fraser, the late Andrew Fraser, the criminal lawyer who did almost 5 years for cocaine charges, he gave evidence against Dupas and was able to get a reward for doing so. And that evidence was enough to convict Dupas of the murder of Mersina Helvargas, a crime for which he had not been convicted, but which he obviously did. And what it was a way for the dead girl's family to get some closure, because Dupas was in fact already in jail and going to stay there a very long time. And Fraser's evidence nailed it down for the family. Some other names that were been big names in the past. You knew Hugo Rich, real name Ollie Dietrich.
Yes.
Talking about arrogant crooks.
Oh, yeah.
He's right up there.
He was right up there. He fancied himself, especially with the female staff.
Yeah.
He was actually quite a clever guy.
Yes.
He designed them kitchens and
Did he?
walkways, and he was very good at a lot of things, really, but he was in our woodwork department, and he designed and built a desk that was thin but could hold a mobile phone. Came apart.
Really?
And for years, or for ages, we didn't know about it and all of this, and we knew there was a mobile phone in the unit and we couldn't find it. Yep. And it was inside this wooden thing that probably wouldn't have been more than an inch thick.
Very nifty.
But it was so well put together.
Yeah. Like Japanese joinery that just fits
it
together.
was so fine. And the craftsmanship was unbelievable.
Really?
And I'm thinking, and he said, no, he made it. And I thought, geez.
I wonder what happened to that.
Yeah, I don't know where that is at the moment. But Hugo ended up getting bundled off down to Barwon. He didn't want to leave and put on a hell of a show, dragging him out of the place. I don't know why he wanted to stay at Port Phillip, but he certainly didn't want to go to Barwon. I don't know if he had issues there or whatever.
Well, just for our listeners, Ollie Dietrich, alias Hugo Rich, was a prolific, among other things, an armed robber. And his last big sentence was because he shot a fellow German, I think, or Austrian, in the face. But Hugo was doing the robbing, and the man he shot was a security guard, that was delivering cash to a bank or to whatever it was out in the eastern suburbs. Yeah,
that's
perhaps
right.
not a bank.
And he hadn't been out for very long.
No, it was a terrible crime. And you do wonder about what the background to that was, whether he was getting rid of someone who he might have known a little bit. I don't know.
I don't know if it's sort of funny, but in the jailhouse dark humour side of things, when he did come back in, because he wasn't out for very long, he came up to me and I said, what happened? You've been pinched with a murder. And he said, you know me, Brian, I'm no murderer. I said, mate, it was pretty cold-blooded.
Yeah.
And I think 2 other prisoners gave him up.
2 other crooks.
2 other...
Yeah.
I think gave evidence against him because we had to keep him separate from them.
Yeah.
And he was adamant to me, you know me, Brian, I'm not a cold-blooded murderer and blah, blah, blah. And I did say something like, we used to call him Ollie just to annoy him because he was so full of himself. He really did fancy himself.
Yeah, narcissist.
Yeah, complete. And I said to him, Hugo, the only thing that would be actually funnier is if you go down on this. And when he did, he wasn't happy.
He wouldn't be.
No. And, he was just a menace.
Was he? He's a pretty dangerous bloke. So clever, willing to manipulate, willing to inflict violence.
Yeah.
All of the above.
I had to talk to him when he'd come back from court. And now half the time he'd come back from court and he would have given the judge a bake.
Yes,
he would have.
He
was
incorrigible. Yeah.
He just loved deferring everything, just making it hard. He knew he was going to go down on this, so he just wanted to make it as hard as possible.
Yep. I don't know if you're going to use this fellow's surname. It's a very common surname. It's a common surname in the way that, that somebody like Carl Williams has got a common surname. But you mentioned to me before we got in front of a microphone that there's a bloke in there that you thought was relatively unknown to the public and yet a very potent figure behind bars. Is that true? Man with a common surname?
Listen, there are some guys in there, I don't know why they're there.
Yeah.
Or who they are, and
Right.
and after a while, you don't even bother Googling them. You just deal
care.
with them as you find them.
Yeah.
Now, I found this guy quite charming, quite respectful. Thought, oh, gee, he's more like one of these old-time crooks. Who is this guy?
Yeah.
And I'd go to the MOU, or the Major Offenders Unit,
Yeah.
and I'd say, listen, he's been a model prisoner here. He doesn't put a thing wrong. I've got to get him out of this unit. I've got to clear him out to mainstream.
Yeah.
Get him out of here. And for some reason, they just wouldn't do it. And they just kept saying to me, Brian, you don't realise he's the most influential person in the system.
Really?
Yeah.
And were they saying they were saying, we don't want to put him at Barwon or something, or just move him around inside?
Yeah, he was just moved around the system. Well, he was moved around Port Phillip.
Was he?
But he was nearly always by himself, and he was
It wasn't overtly menacing.
No, not at all, not at all. So those ones, and they'd pop up every now and again. You'd see this sort of bloke, like he wasn't covered in tats, but all the top Comancheros, all the top banditos would go out of their way to try and get in contact with him, try and get messages to him.
So did you sing this? One must think this is a person with a lot of influence, probably financial.
Yeah.
Because financial buys everything else, doesn't it? If you're worth millions outside, you can get things done. You can organise things. He must have been high up in some form of criminal endeavour, presumably drugs.
Yes. Well, a lot of the OMCGs, were trying to get him to get involved, or
this is outlaw motorbike gangs,
motorcycle groups. And I used to sit there and think, God, who are you? Who are you? How do you have so much pull in the joint? Now, obviously, the authorities above my level knew about it.
Yes.
Because they refused to put him back out into the mainstream.
Is that man still inside?
That man, when Port Phillip closed, he was still inside. So I presume he's gone to Barwon.
When was Port Phillip closed again?
It was closed at the end of 2025, December the 31st.
Right, so he went to Barwon.
Yeah.
I see. So in your view, one of the most influential prisoners in the system, in Victoria probably, is now in Barwon.
Yeah.
And you still wonder what it is about him that makes him have so much influence.
Yeah.
That is intriguing. Intriguing that you didn't hear on the grapevine more.
No.
Yeah.
And I don't think even our intel knew exactly, because they were very nervous in dealing with him and...
Unsure.
Yeah, and just wondering why he had such pull in the system. So, yeah. They pop up, and generally they are the quiet ones, the ones you don't hear about, the ones that...
So he acted more like a businessman than a crook?
Correct, yeah.
He wasn't missing teeth and...
No.
Didn't have
quite a
neck tattoos
bloke.
and all that.
His wife had come in nearly every day, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't, probably 3 or 4 times a week, but she was always coming in.
He didn't tongue kiss his mother?
No, he wasn't tongue kissing his mother.
No.
Although I think he did have a very good-looking barrister or someone who used to visit him too, and
I see.
But he's
Right.
Yeah.
I see.
They're out there.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, now, Brian, you've did 20 years racing. You've done more than 20 years in the prison system. You've got a few stories to tell. I think you're thinking that you might tell them to people around the traps, maybe, Rotary clubs, whatever it might be, pubs, clubs, weddings, parties, anything.
Weddings, parties, anything, whatever. Andrew, yeah. I'm unemployed now, so I need a gig, yes. No, they didn't take us on at the new prison. No. We were all dinosaurs, and they didn't want any of the old Port Phillip...
Scandinavians.
They didn't want any of the old Port Phillip culture at the brand new place. That's absolute, joke. And now I hear that they're trying to now call the CV prisoners by their first names.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, so one legacy of Port Phillip's lived on.
Is that? Okay. Well, would reflect the government of the day, perhaps.
Yes.
So, Brian Coglan, you've gone from racing to a dinner party in Camberwell where someone said, why don't you come and work for us? And you did. And 26 years later, you've finished up there.
And loved it, to be honest, yeah.
And loved it.
Yeah.
And you're still wanting to get around and do stuff.
Well, I've got all this useless information in my head that a lot of people find interesting. You know, ask anyone who works in a prison. They'll always get told that you get, pinned at a party and you end up telling
Do you know this one? Do you know that one?
Yeah, you're telling
I hope we've been down a few of those rabbit holes today.
Yeah.
But, of course, you've only told us probably 10% of the things you know. And obviously, with a podcast, you can't be totally frank because it's a broad audience.
Yes.
And certain things we don't say. But in a live speaking environment, you could be slightly more frank.
You'd think so, yes.
That's what I think. Thank you, Brian Coglan. That is the end of the penny section.
Thanks, Andrew. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening. Life and Crimes is a Sunday Herald Sun production for True Crime Australia. Our producer is Jonty Burton. For my columns, features and more, go to heraldsun.com.au/Andrew Rule, one word. For advertising inquiries, go to newspodcastssold@news.com.au. That is all one word, newspodcastssold. And if you want further information about this episode, links are in the description.